YouTube. This video will be on American Horror Story Season 6, My Roanoke, Episode 3, which is called Chapter 3. Oh my god, what an amazing episode. I'm going to try and break down and cover everything, but a lot did happen, so there's a lot to process. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like, thumbs up, as that helps my channel grow. So this episode started where the last one ended, where Flora went missing and they were looking for her. You remember it ended with a yellow jumper being up that 100-foot tree. So I think Flora going missing is going to be vital to the whole season. Well, at least I'm getting that vibe. I'm going to try and keep this video under 50 minutes, but there is a lot to cover. So it started with everybody looking for Flora, Lee's daughter. They had a lot of volunteers, but as Lee was a police, she knew it was a different matter. She knew if the kid was not found in 48 hours, the chances of finding her would be quite minuscule. And I think 5 minutes into the episode, Lee finds a doll with lots of pig bits all around it. She screams, saying they're evil, they're twisted. Quite a graphical scene. Then 100 yards from the doll, they come across this farm hillbilly neighbour house, Flora, Matt and Shelby, which is abandoned and riddled with flies in the barns. Basically, it's disgusting, doesn't look very nice. But what's interesting here, this is a real graphical bit, they find two boys laying in the mud, sucking their teeth into a pig. Yeah, didn't see that coming, bit gross. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. These boys end up getting taken to the cop shop where Manson Mason, Lee's ex-husband, Flora's dad, goes mental, wants to interview him, wants to punch him up and stuff. But these boys can hardly speak a word of English. A psychiatrist, a counsellor tries to talk to them and they can't even speak any English. So it's like they're traumatized over something. But we later find out that the word that he can speak, can't quite remember what it was a warning. So at this point, Flora will be missing for 72 hours. They go back to the house and Manson accuses Lee of kidnapping their daughter, which they did, and she's like, where is she? I've had enough of this bullshit. The FBI, the grieving mother, what's your plan? Are you going to run away to Mexico? So basically accusing her of being in the story, kind of it being her fault, and she covering up, trying to portray that she doesn't actually know where the kid is. So they all go to sleep and they get a phone call, and obviously they think it's something to do with Flora. It ends up being someone burnt to a pulp, which ends up being Manson Mason, I believe. And what's interesting is Matt looks on his security camera, and Shelby left the house 15 minutes after Matt and returned 4 hours later. So they're basically accusing her of killing her ex-husband, which, I mean, people do crazy things when they're emotionally and psychologically under a lot of stress. So yeah, didn't see that coming. But I know a lot of people do die in this kind of American Horror Story programs. I mean, you just got to look at Murder House to know that. So a new psychic comes to town. He randomly walks into the house. He goes by the name of Cricket. I don't know if he's famous, but he's found a lot of children in the past. He's known for it, and he claims he can help find Flora, but he needs permission to talk to the dead, or to talk to the spirits. This is where we first see Kathy Bates' character. And this is where we find out more about Croatoan. Comment down below if I'm not saying that right. It is a bit of a strange word that I've not really come across before. So Flora isn't dead. The psychic figures out that she was in the cupboard playing with Priscilla, who is the kind of fake friend, but this psychic Cricket tells them that she isn't pretend, she's dead. She's like a ghost, but she's like real in some capacity. So where else? Where am I? And basically, it comes down to they contact they do some voodoo shit. They contact this kind of person and try to get some connection with the spirit. And what ends up happening is this Kathy Bates character, it's her house, she's going to protect it, she's going to kill anyone that gets in her way, quite savage. And after the kind of conversation, the cricket guy screams, Croatoan, Croatoan. And then what's interesting here is he's like, I can help you, but it's going to cost you 25,000. So instantly in this bit, they think it's a con, it's a fix. You kind of found out some information about the house, there's all the public records. But it turns out to be true. So obviously she's not going to help him unless they pay the 25,000. And just before Cricket leaves, he somehow knew that Lee had a daughter in the past that no one else seemed to know about. When she was 17, she lost her daughter Emily. She left her in the car for 5 minutes. She came back and she was gone. So this must be really bad for her, seeing as she's already lost a kid previously. Pretty savage storyline. So eventually, somehow, Lee gets the $25,000 to pay this woman. And she says the only way to find out where she is to find everything out about the enemy, Cricket says. This is where she finds out that the person who Kathy Bates is playing is actually called Thomasin White. And she kind of downloaded all this history about them spiritually when she was walking out of the house that night somehow. So Kathy Bates, aka the Butcher, anger colonist ghost, has a very good reason for being the way that she is. Thomasin White is her. John was the governor of Roanoke. So she was once the leader of Roanoke. Well, her partner was once the leader of Roanoke, but she was betrayed and exiled everyone, including her own son, Wes Bentley. She was left to die in the woods, only to be saved by the person being played by Lady Gaga, who demanded her soul in exchange for help. So we don't know who the character playing Lady Gaga is at the moment, but she owns Thomasin White, who is a girl's heart, soul. So she took a blood revenge on the traitors, but nobly not her son Ambrose. And then Lee is like, everyone knows the Roanoke story is nowhere near here. Indeed, Roanoke Island is not at all close, where Matt and Shelby are supposedly supposed to be living. You only think you know the story, says Cricket. It turns out that the Butcher extracted her revenge. She moved the colony, which is how they ended up on the Miller's property. So already we've actually found out a lot about Roanoke. We found out the history about the Butcher. We found out in the last episode about the kind of two sisters. So we found out a lot of deep information. So let's divulge into some more. Please comment down below and put your comments. So after all this, they go into the forest. They demand that Thomasin White brings back the mortal girl, obviously being Flora, tries telling them to convince Priscilla to give the girl back, and then her clients will burn down the house, disappear, and they can have the house. Pretty savage. So it kind of looks like they've got a deal, but it wasn't set in stone. So maybe the colony is going to try and get Priscilla to give the kid back so they can have their peace. Finally, then Matt disappears, then Shelby disappears, and what we find next is quite graphical. We see the person playing Lady Gaga being fucked sexual intercourse by Matt Shelby, anal style, up the arse. I hope I don't get flagged for saying that, because this is a 15 category like program. It's the only way you can describe it. But the interesting bit is Matt has no recollection. No, he doesn't remember doing it. Does not remember doing it. But it's really sick scene because there's some hillbillies that look like they're touching themselves or something. You can't really see whilst they're doing it. And Lady Gaga, I'm pretty sure it is her, looks into the camera and looks really freaky. So is Lady Gaga in charge of the whole show, seeing as she owns the Butchers, aka Thomasin White's heart, and she seems to be running the show? I don't know, I hope we find out more about her. But we also got some big news that there is going to be a big twist during episode 6. No idea what it is, but this kind of program is done in documentary style. So you kind of hear him telling the story and then you see the story. But during a bit of Lee's scene, we actually heard her say stop. We've seen the green screen, we've seen the cameras, we've seen the people behind the cameras, we've seen the microphones. So let me know down below what you think is actually going on. Are they going to change the whole format of the program? There's going to be a massive twist during episode 6, we believe. So then Matt goes back to the house and doesn't actually remember anything happening. So this episode was pretty savage and gruesome. There were some pretty violent scenes, so it's pretty hard to explain it. But I've covered 90% of what happened without explaining everything. I've explained the kind of colony bit, the Butchers past, explained what happened in this episode, explained about the psychic. So let me know down below what you think. Please hit the like button, not the dislike button. I've been getting a lot of dislikes recently. I don't know why, personally. I don't know, maybe someone's got something against me. I think I have a troll. Don't know, because I keep getting like 10 dislikes in the space of 2 to 5 minutes, which is really odd for a small channel. So please subscribe as I'm trying to grow this channel. Warstew here once again. I will be reviewing this program all the way through, although the editing style may change. It just depends on the amount of time that I have. Hope I haven't bored you. I hope I've articulated it in such a manner that anybody can understand. Anyway guys, please subscribe, like and comment. Warstew out.